probably got in your car this morning, turned the key, pressed the pedal, and moved 40 miles an hour down the road without using a single muscle. But if we rewind the clock 100,000 years ago, that exact same trip would have taken you 2 full days of walking, completely barefoot, through territory that could quite literally kill you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because back then, there was no road, no path, and definitely no sign telling you what was up ahead. For almost all of human history, getting anywhere meant risking absolutely everything, and you had nothing to carry you there except your own 2 feet. Today, it's so different. You can fly across the entire planet in a single day, or order something from the other side of the world and just have it show up at your front door. Movement is so incredibly easy now that it's basically invisible to us. But for roughly 300,000 years, every single journey a human being ever took happened at walking speed.
Part 1, built to never stop. That one limitation, that walking speed, shaped absolutely everything about how we lived, what we ate, who we married, and how much of the world we ever got to see. So let's start right at the foundation, your feet. Humans are, without a doubt, the best long-distance walkers on the planet. But we are definitely not the fastest, not even close. A cheetah can hit 70 miles an hour. A horse can sustain 30 miles an hour for miles at a time. And you? Well, you top out at maybe 15 miles an hour, and that's only for a few seconds before you're gasping for air. But you know what? Speed was never the point of our biology. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down exactly why we outlast everyone else. You can walk 20 miles in a single day, go to sleep, and do it all again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. You can do this for weeks. Literally no other animal on Earth can do that. Why? Well, your feet have arches that act as natural springs. Your Achilles tendon stores and releases energy with every single step, so your muscles aren't carrying the full load. You've got this specialized ligament running up the back of your neck just to keep your head stable while your body is moving underneath it. And, maybe most importantly, you have about 2 million sweat glands keeping you cool, while every other large mammal out on the savanna overheats and just has to stop. You see, you aren't built to be fast. You are built to never stop. To put a timeline on this, back in 1978, paleoanthropologist Mary Leakey discovered a trail of footprints in Laetoli, Tanzania. They were pressed into volcanic ash an astounding 3.6 million years ago. It showed 2 individuals walking upright side by side. It's the absolute oldest evidence of bipedal walking we've ever found. And the crazy thing? Those footprints look almost exactly like yours. For millions of years, that was the one and only transportation technology humans had. And somehow, against all odds, it was enough to take us farther than any species has ever gone. Starting roughly 70,000 years ago, small groups of humans began walking out of Africa. And actually, let me clarify that. It wasn't one giant coordinated march. This happened over thousands of years, generation by generation, with small groups just pushing a little further into territory that no human had ever laid eyes on. They crossed the Middle East, spread all across Asia, reached Europe, trekked into Siberia, crossed the land bridge into Alaska, and just kept going south all the way through the Americas. That is roughly 15,000 miles, all without even knowing the destination existed. So the crucial point is that they weren't just walking aimlessly. This wasn't random. Archaeologists have found obsidian tools hundreds of miles from the nearest volcanic source. They found seashells way inland and amber that was traded across massive mountain ranges. These people were intentionally covering massive distances to trade, to connect with other groups, and to find specific resources they knew existed just because someone had told them about it. This wasn't wandering, folks. This was networking on foot. Part 2, conquering the water. Now, walking works incredibly well, right up until something gets in the way. You can trudge across a desert, you can hike over a mountain pass, but a river? A river stops you dead in your tracks. And they were everywhere, cutting through migration routes, hunting grounds, and trade paths. For hundreds of thousands of years, a body of water was basically a giant wall. You either found a shallow spot to cross, or you turned around. And then, somehow, we figured out something that no other land animal ever has: how to cross water on purpose. In 2003, archaeologists on the Indonesian island of Flores found stone tools dating back roughly 800,000 years. Now here's the kicker. Flores has never been connected to the mainland. Even when sea levels were at their absolute lowest during the ice ages, there was always at least 12 miles of open ocean blocking the way, which means someone made the crossing. We have no idea what they used. Wood rots, bamboo decomposes, so whatever they floated on is long gone. But the tools are there, meaning it definitely happened. Early boats were probably just happy accidents, a fallen log or some reeds, but it evolved. Fast forward, and the oldest intact boat we found is the 10,000-year-old Pessie canoe. And by 3,000 years ago, the Polynesians were out there building massive double-hulled canoes, navigating thousands of miles of the Pacific Ocean just by reading the stars. It's truly mind-blowing. But we really need to pause and look at what happened even earlier, because it's just as deliberate and frankly terrifying. Around 65,000 years ago, humans crossed from Southeast Asia to Australia. That meant sailing at least 60 miles of open ocean. You cannot see Australia from the other side. You definitely can't drift there by accident. Someone built something that floated, pointed it toward a horizon where they couldn't see any land, and just started paddling. Think about that for a second. Leaving solid ground behind with literally no idea if there was anything on the other side. Part 3. The problem of weight. So, walking conquered the land, and early boats conquered the water. But humanity was still up against a severe limitation, and it wasn't how far we could go, it was how much we could carry. Let's move to and see how this builds into our next leap forward. For most of human history, your entire world consisted of what your own body could physically carry. And biology kicks in hard here. Your body starts breaking down when you carry much more than 40 to 60 pounds for long stretches. You certainly can't carry a 200-pound animal carcass 20 miles back to camp. So humans started cheating their biology. They invented things like the travois, basically 2 long wooden poles tied together in a V-shape to drag on the ground and spread the weight out. Suddenly, boom, one person could move 100 pounds or more. Part 4. Accelerating human history. The travois was a great start, a real game changer. But the true breakthrough in moving heavy things wasn't something we built. It was something we befriended. Around 15,000 years ago, we domesticated the dog. Up in the Arctic, teams of dogs could pull sleds, meaning an entire family's camp could be packed up and moved. But dogs, they're relatively small. The massive shift happened about 5,500 years ago, when a group called the Botai in present-day Kazakhstan figured out the horse. Archaeologists actually found wear marks on ancient horse teeth from bits and even mare's milk baked into old pottery. This changed the game entirely. Remember how for 300,000 years our top speed was about 4 miles per hour? On a horse, you hit 30. The human world literally became 8 times smaller in a single generation. Soon after, donkeys, camels, reindeer, and llamas were put to work all over the globe. Now look at this timeline, because it absolutely defies what most of us assume. Humans literally crossed every ocean on Earth before anyone invented the wheel. The oldest known wheel, which was found in Slovenia, is only about 5,200 years old. Boats and tamed horses came first. And the funny thing is, the wheel didn't even start as a transportation device. The very first wheels were just spinning discs used for shaping pottery. Eventually, some absolute genius looked at that pottery disc, turned it on its side, and realized they could put a cart on top of it. And this brilliantly illustrates how technologies compound on top of each other. For 300,000 years, we just had our feet. Then the horse shifted the entire dynamic of trade and warfare. But by 2000 BC, the invention of the spoked wheel made chariots and heavy wagons possible. You add in the first paved roads in ancient cities like Ur, and you finally have a genuine transportation system. The wheel, combined with the horse and the paved road, built every major civilization you've ever read about. It's what made massive empires and global supply chains a reality. Part 5. The modern commute, which snaps us rapidly right back to today, because we really need to take all of this immense historical struggle and put it right next to what we expect out of our modern lives. Just look at the things we complain about today. You sit in a climate-controlled metal box on a perfectly paved road doing 70 miles per hour, and you call it a frustrating commute. You fly 3,000 miles across a literal ocean in just 6 hours, and you get annoyed because the in-flight Wi-Fi is buffering. You pull a supercomputer out of your pocket, summon a car to your exact GPS coordinates, and then get irritated if it takes 5 minutes to arrive instead of 4. It is honestly absurd when you contrast that with the 15,000-mile barefoot treks our ancestors made across continents they didn't even have names for. The reality is this. We solved the problem of distance so completely that we entirely forgot it was ever a problem to begin with. Every highway you drive on, every airport you fly out of, every single set of train tracks crisscrossing this planet, they all exist solely because 300,000 years ago someone looked out at the horizon and just started walking. They did it because they had to, because staying still usually meant dying. Even when staying in one place felt a whole lot safer, they pushed forward anyway. They had no map, no guarantee of survival, and no real idea where they were going, but they went anyway.
So as you head out on your effortless modern commute today, I want to leave you with this question. Have our modern conveniences made us forget that moving into the unknown is the most human thing there is? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope you never look at a map or your own 2 feet the same way again.